The private sector doesn't care that you are GS-9, GS-14, or highly qualified. It cares about one thing, and most federal employees never learn how to show it. I'll show you how private employers actually evaluate you. Federal culture gives you a handbook for everything except leaving, and the longer you stay, the harder it feels to move. Today, I'm breaking down the exact 3-step system I use to help federal employees go from, I don't know where to start, to, I just accepted a private sector offer. But before step 1, there's a mistake almost everyone makes, and it's quietly crushing your momentum before you even apply. If you've been applying for months with no traction, if your resume keeps getting ignored, if LinkedIn feels like a foreign planet, let me be clear, it's not your experience, it's not your talent, it's the playbook you were trained in. See, federal rules taught you to wait, stay quiet, and let time speak. That works inside government, but the private sector doesn't connect dots. It filters first. If your value isn't obvious immediately, it never gets evaluated. If they can't understand you in seconds, you're out. Not because you aren't qualified. Like I said, it's because you didn't translate your value. That's why so many smart federal employees feel invisible. You're not stuck. Honestly, you're misaligned.
What made me get out was like I was bored. I kept trying to get out, and the branch chief considered me essential, so she wasn't approving of me to go. Ran into a friend of mine that I had worked on the private side. He said he was looking to man the office up again. So I was like, "Don't count me in." I was out, that type stuff. But most folks would look at going into the federal government.
Right.
My objective was to make the money.
Right. So it was about the money.
Yeah. So it didn't matter where I was.
Right.
It's all subjective, Some people give you benefits, but they don't give you the salary, So you have to figure out what it is you want.
Right.
I was more concerned with the salary than the benefits, because all I had was me.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get a family, then that perspective could change. But for me, being single and no kids, I can do what I want to do. Well, her situation is same as mine. Same as mine. She tired of being where she at. So.
Right. But she doesn't have a clear path or a roadmap to how she's gonna get out.
I think she does, but she she wants to stay where she's at. And I think that's why I was saying first, you got to make that determination that you're ready to leave. Because if you don't make the determination on leaving, you're not gonna do anything. So So you need to determine, am I ready to leave this place? Yes or no?
What would you suggest?
Get a resume together first.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it starts.
The question is, what do you see her struggling with?
Like most folks, procrastination. Don't want to make that next step. You complain, but you don't do anything to move forward. So now you're just complaining.
Exactly. Until they came to me, they didn't have a strategy. What they were doing is they were going by the old rules of finding work. Spray and pray. I got this one resume. I'm gonna send it out to everybody in these different positions, and they never receive callbacks. They never receive, hey, we received your resume. They ain't see none of that. That's not strategy, that's luck. The best way to be hired is by knowing someone. But because most of us don't, that's why most federal employees stay longer than they wanted to. Not because they can't leave, but because no one showed them how to leave. And that brings us to step 1, clarity. Clarity answers 3 things fast. First, what role actually fits your strengths? Not your GS title, your impact. What changed because you were there? That's the first translation civilians need. Second, what industries actually wanted that experience? Compliance, HR, ops, finance, healthcare. Your background translates more than you've been told when it's framed correctly. Third, what do you want your life to look like next? Remote, more money, less stress. Now here's the stress. If a hiring manager can't decode you in 4 seconds, you disappear. Here's the payoff though. Once you get clarity, you stop sounding like a policy manual and start sounding like a business asset. Step 2, tools. Your resume, LinkedIn, and interview answers are still speaking government. ATS doesn't speak that language. Hiring managers don't either. One resume, every job, no callbacks. That's not failure altogether. That's outdated strategy. When the tools change, something wild happens. People don't become better, they become understandable. And that's when the interviews start rolling in. Let me ask you something. What's stressing you the most right now? Picking the right role, fixing the resume, or interviewing? Drop it in the comments, because once the tools are fixed, most people still hit one last wall, and it surprises them. Step 3, strategy. Federal mindset says apply and wait. Private sector mindset says move with intent. That means targeted outreach, weekly execution, negotiation without fear. And here's the stress. If you don't control the process controls you. Here's the payoff. When strategy clicks, people go from ghosted to in control. One of my clients tried to leave federal service for 8 years. That's right, 8 years. Not because she wasn't qualified, but because no one gave her the map. We ran this exact system, clarity, tools, strategy. 90 days later, she literally landed her dream job. Remote role, better hours, less stress. She didn't become a new person. She stopped playing by rules that never applied to her. If you want this system to work for you, the next thing you need to fix is how you're selling your federal experience. Once your message is tight, civilians understand you faster and call you faster. Click the link in the top of the description and grab a free resume review. That's right, it's free. It's private, no pressure. And when you're ready, watch the next video because your experience was never the problem. It's how you're selling it. I'll see you there right here.